Hi class, today we are on Saxon Math Book 4, Lesson 65, and this is part 2 of the division with two-digit answers. So the first thing I want to talk about today is what do we call these pieces of a division problem? So the part that goes in the house, this is the number that we are dividing, that is called the dividend. The part that goes outside of the house, this is the number we're dividing by, is called the divisor, and then our answer is the quotient. So for our first example, the question is identify the digit 8 as either the dividend, the divisor, or the quotient. And there's 3 ways we can write a division problem. So the first way is going to look like that with the house. We have 24 divided by 8 equals 3. What is 8? Is it our dividend? Is it our divisor? Or is it our quotient? Well, you can look at what I have on the board up there and see that 8 is the divisor in this problem. There's another way to write that. We could write 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So in the house, this would look like that. But when we write it as an equation this way, we put the number that we're dividing first, the number we're dividing by second, and then our answer goes last. So what is the 8 called in this example? 8 is the dividend. It's the number that we are dividing. We're taking 8 M&Ms and dividing them into 2 equal groups. Okay, the third way to write a division problem looks like a fraction. A fraction is the same thing as a division problem. In this case, we have 40 in our numerator, 5 in our denominator. This fraction bar means divided by. So we've got 40 divided by 5 equals 8. What is the 8 called? It's the answer to this problem. That's the quotient. So if you see something that looks like a fraction, particularly if you have a larger number in the numerator, you can go, oh, you know what? Mrs. Duarte told me I could divide that and get a more simple answer. In this case, it's even a whole number for us, 8. Okay, so what if we have the problem 234 divided by 3? We are going to solve this just like we did yesterday. We're going to start just with our first digit and say, can 3 go into 2? If I have 2 M&Ms, can I make a group of 3? No, I can't. So 3 goes into 2 0 times. And since we don't usually write zeros at the beginning of our numbers, what I usually tell my students to do is just put an X there to show 3 can't go into 2. So we're not going to ignore the 2. We still have to deal with it, but now we get to combine it with that next digit. So now our question is, can 3 go into 23? Yes, it can. How many times does 3 go into 23? Maybe I have to count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. That'd be too many. So 21 gives me 7 times. So I'll put a 7 up here. 7 times 3 is 21. That's what we just said. We write it down here. Our next step is to subtract. So 23 minus 21 gives me a 2. Our next step is to drop. And now we start over and say, how many times can 3 go into 24? Well, we were at 21 with 7 times. We can make one more group of 3 there. So here's an 8 Then we multiply. 8 times 3 is 24. We subtract, and we still don't have any remainder for an answer of 78. Okay, this next example is a word problem. It says, on a 9-day bike trip through the Rocky Mountains, Vera and her companions rode 468 miles. They rode an average of how many miles per day? So we're taking our 468 miles and we need to divide that by how many days? They rode 9 days. So I can kind of ignore this for now. We'll need a label when we get to the end. But let's start. Does 9 go into 4? No, I can't make a group of 9 if I only have 4, so I put an X up there. Does 9 go into 46? Yes, it does. How many times? 5. 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. 4 minus 4 is nothing. Drop your 8. Does 9 go into 18? Yes, it does. How many times? 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract, and no remainder. So we got 52, but this was a word problem, so 52 what? They traveled 52 miles per day, approximately. That's their average. So maybe one day they went a little bit more, another day they went a little bit less. Oh, so we had 52, and one other thing this chapter wants, or this lesson wants me to show you, is we can check our answer. So we take our answer 52, and if you multiply it times the divisor, which in this case was 9, it should equal the dividend, which was 468. So we're going to multiply here and see if we get the same answer. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry my 10 there. 9 times 5 is 45 plus 1, 46. And check, check. We have the same number. So because multiplication is the opposite of division, we can use multiplication to check our division answers. So that's kind of a cool way. You're really going to want to use that on tests to make sure that you've got the right answer. All right, the next one is a multiple choice example. We have choice A, 123, choice B, 234, choice C, 345, and choice D, 456. And the question says, which of these is a multiple of 9? So if you remember yesterday, I gave you the trick for the multiple of 3. You have to add the digits together, and if that is divisible by 3, then the whole thing is divisible by 3. Guess what? The same trick works for 9. So we'll add these digits together. What's 1 plus 2 plus 3? That equals 6. Can you divide 6 by 9? No. So you can't divide 123 by 9. What about 2 plus 3 plus 4? 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. Can you divide 9 by 9? Yes, you can. So 234 is divisible by 9. Just to make sure, we're going to check these two as well. 3 plus 4 plus 5. That's going to give us 12. Can we do 12 divided by 9? Not evenly, so C doesn't work. 4 plus 5 plus 6, that's 15. Can we do 15 divided by 9? Nope, that one doesn't work either. So B is our only answer that works. Okay, last example is also a word problem, so listen carefully while I read it. Each day, some of the students in Montralin's class order milk at snack time and at lunchtime. Each month, a total of 192 pints of milk are delivered to Montralin's classroom. About how many quarts of milk are delivered each month? So hear that about word? That means we want to round. So we know they get 192 pints of milk. And they want to know about how many quarts. So think way back to that measurement lesson. How many pints are in a quart? If you need to, maybe draw the kingdom of G. The kingdom of G had 4 queens. Q stands for quart. Each queen had a prince and a princess. So how many P's, how many pints does it take to make a quart? It takes 2. So I have 192 pints. I want to know how many quarts I have, and I'm estimating. So we want to round this. If I were a student doing this problem, I would say I want to make this as easy as possible. I could round it to 190, excuse me. But it's going to be really, really easy if I say, well, 192 isn't that far away from 200. And 200 divided by 2 is 100. So about 100 pints would be my answer. 100p for pints. I'm sorry. It's not pints. It's about 100 quarts. I was looking at the problem and I said that wrong. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on to the lesson practice part of our lesson. So if you are my student, you need to do this before I meet with you today. All of the lesson practice problems, A through L, you're going to do on a piece of paper, and we're going to check your answers when I see you. If you are not my student, you can find these problems on page 420 of your textbook. And if you have an answer key, you can check your answers that way or ask a homeschooling parent to check them for you. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.